doing here? All right, we're back, and we've got some different work to do today. We're going to work on the head of the WR450, and I'm going to go right into it as soon as I can. But I want to give a description of what we're doing. We're going to start this head service. What are we doing here? My light's messing me up here. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me Dewey's Garage. But what we're doing here, I got my hand blocking the light over here. So we're going to start the head service on the WR450. And the reason why we're doing that, my hand's in the way, is because we're going to be waiting on parts on the clutch side of the cases. I really wanted Tony to be able to get his engine by this weekend, but it ain't happening. It's going to happen when I get the parts and put it all the way back together. That doesn't mean that we can't get some more work done. So we're going to go right into it. And don't forget to try to get into the live chat. Hey, there I am. And I've got a little tool you might see over there. I got a little tablet over there. I'm going to try to use that to be able to see the live chat. I don't know how well it's going to work, but we're going to try. So, what are we doing? What is Dewey doing? Dewey, what are you doing? I don't even know half the time, but that's okay. And real quick, if you're patient with me, I'm going to try to get on here on this Chinesium chat or thing to be able to see the chat. I don't know if it's going to work, but get my volume turned down on this thing. Yeah, there we go. And what I'm going to do, and I'm going to go to my channel, hopefully. And hopefully I can see it. I am live. Okay, I'm live. So can I see it? It looks like 3 people are watching. Hey, this is exciting. I might be able to see this. Yeah, there I am. You see how long of a delay it is. Who cares? But I'll be able to go over there and check occasionally and see if I can see the chat. So you'll see this off into the side. Yeah, okay. So looks like we got about a 30 to 45 second delay on here. We got a WR450 head here. It's a 5 valve here. Oh my gosh, look what I did. I know what I did. I left the old head gasket on it. So we're going to go ahead and get that off of there. Real quick, those of you who've seen me work on different cylinder heads know that I'm going to have to do certain things on this cylinder head. I'm going to do a service on it, which is, probably more than some of you that have done these really do. And you probably have had, hopefully not, leaky head gaskets. I really hope you didn't, but I like to ensure that we don't have those. I've got to get this head gasket, this old one, off of here. And it is stubborn as the son of a gun here. It's mainly because of these dowel pins, which I neglected dealing with until just now. So, real quick, this is going to provide some. I might just have to deal with them for the time being and do it off camera. I'd rather not, because, I haven't acknowledged it, but I think I may have some OCD for Dewey's. That's probably what it is. And I really would like to get this thing off of here. Are we going to have to take it off in pieces? I'd rather not. Oh, for crying out loud. So these dowel pins may end up being a problem. That's why I didn't remove this in the first place. But we're going to try to just leave them be for the time being. That may be one more last minute. Wait a second. I know I ordered these at one point. I might have had some of these at one point. Here's our old head gasket. And the head gasket, well, we're not talking theorem in here, but let's just be real quick. Real quick here. And then I'm going to try to check the chat. That way I don't have to pester the special assistant person, because that person has to go to work relatively early. Yeah, these things are going to be a bastard. And I might end up mulching them. I'll have to check and see if I have any in my special stash. Yeah, they're tight. Okay, what we're going to do, moving on. All right. Hey, I've got people talking. Okay, so we got someone from Indonesia. Hello. Hello, Bang UL 07 from Indonesia. Red Yod Red. The hell is a 40, whatever it's called. Peel. You're working on a carb. No, we're working on a, let's see, or is it a motorbike engine head? Yes, I can tell. Okay, you're on the right track. Yeah, we're going to take the valves out of the cylinder head, and this is a beauty. And it sounds like you're one of those people that probably says aluminium, and I'm okay with that. You probably spell tire T-Y-R-E, and I'm okay with that as well. It's not what I do, but what we're doing is we're going to remove these valves one at a time, and I thought I'd show you the process. I want to keep these buckets and the shims on these buckets and the valves associated with those in their correct order. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have my stuff set in a certain way. I've got my magnet. Oh, that's nice. A pin magnet, when you're doing this, is a versatile tool. We have our shim in our bucket, and it's going to correspond with the right valve. Okay. What I'm also going to do, so we're going to do this and orient them in the same way. I'm going to show you something. I'm just going to poke a hole for each of the valves on the intake side, and 2 of them. That way they go back where they're supposed to go. And what I'm going to do also, I'm going to put there's going to be keepers. There's these little keepers in the top of the valve, and we're going to have a valve spring, and we're going to have a valve seat, and we're also going to have a valve guide seal. I'm going to remove all those today, all 5 of these, and then we're going to call it a day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my valve spring compressor to do that. This may be a little bit of a primitive device, and it may not necessarily be the one that you would use on your regular vehicle, but it will work. So for a lot of those, sometimes these valve spring compressors come in different forms. Okay. We have our head here. I'm not going to turn it all the way upside down because I don't want our buckets to slip off of there and us get unorganized. So previously I was working on again, we've talked about this one in passing, but it's an XR650L head, so it was much thicker. Oh, I may have to use a different one. Yeah, okay. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to use this one up top. I think that'll fit in that space. Yes, I'll put this one on the bottom. And this bottom piece is going to come in contact with the valve. This top piece is going to come in contact with the valve spring. So we're doing a little bit of our setup. There we go. And as with any of my videos where I'm doing something, ooh, that might be a little too tight. Is that too tight? No, it's just getting out of alignment. Okay. It's going to be a bit snug, but I'd rather have the widest throw. Okay. So what you can see here, and it might be a little bit dark, and I apologize, I'm not going to tilt the thing all the way up, but we have the bottom of the, it's like a C-clamp coming into contact with the wrong, with the wrong piece here. No, it's the right one. This is just wacky. So we're orienting this a certain way. It's so easy, I'm getting confused. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just compress this in. I think, let's see, is it compressing it? I may have made an error, friends. This may be too tight. Yeah, it is too tight. Okay, I've got to downsize. As with live TV, sometimes you got to call an audible on these things. These 3-valve Yamahas, excuse me, 3 intake valve Yamahas, they just got a smaller, yeah, that'll be a lot better. They got a smaller spring and they got a smaller, all this other stuff. So than what I'm used to working on or have been. These used to be all I learned. These are all I used to do because these are what I learned on. That pre-workout still hitting hard. I'm not on drugs, I promise. I'm high on life. No drugs or alcohol. Just good, clean as I can, eating and living. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to check the live chat here. Thanks for joining us, by the way. Oh, what's up, Shane? Yes, we're in here. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. So, real quick, we may be a little wacky. Is this wacky on my live chat? Why am I having so many problems with our live chat? This is crazy. But Shane, if you're in here, please jump back in and shout us out. Or I'm trying to get everybody excited about my channel, and I would like for everybody to engage in live chat. And we just had it give, and I'm compressing the spring. And I'm coming in here with the magnet. I probably wish I had a little, oh, no, I got him. Got one. I'm setting him right there. There's 2. I'm setting them right here. It's really windy outside. So it appears I may have a broken chat on my end again, but you know, folks, I appreciate you and I want to thank you for tuning in. But if you are watching, please engage in a chat and talk amongst yourselves, but be courteous, please. What I'm going to do now is, since we've got these 2 pieces off that are holding the valve together or in place, I'm going to show you, keep your panties on or take them off. I don't mind. A little bit carboned up. And down in here, we're going to have our valve guide seal. I'm going to use a specific tool just for those. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been in one of these 5-valve yammers. A lot of times I wait to remove the valve guide seal, but not today. And I might my magnet's not small enough, and these are in here kind of firm. And so we are one valve out, okay? We're going to set our head down. Yeah, apparently from my end the chat is broke, and I'm heartbroken. So if my special assistant person is involved there, they might send me a direct message. They might not, and let me know what's going on in the chat. But I'm going to show you from a different perspective so you can see on this first one, and then we're going to mow through the rest of them. I'm going to look here on this side and see if we can see the chat. Oh, okay. Hey, so I can see it here. Okay, Indonesia. No, all I can see is just the last thing I can see is Shane saying hi, Dewey. So that's fine. We're all right with that. So we have number 1 intake valve. Oh man, let's turn the light on. Beep. Okay, so we have our intake valve. Come on, focus. And I'm looking. Yeah, we're gonna have to clean this up, but this is salvageable. Oh, sorry, I went out of. This is salvageable. We're not knifed off. We got plenty of surface here. So what we have right here are the keepers. Those keepers set at the top of the valve stem, the stem of the valve, and they hook in. They hook in this little slot right here. You see that groove at the top of the keeper where it sticks out on the inside? That's where it comes in contact with the valve. And both of those, when the valve is compressed, they set in here a certain way. And once I release the spring slowly, they inch up into place and they are pushed tightly together to clasp on the top of the valve. And that's what happens. So that's what happens, and that's what we're doing. So it's very important. Oh, also, part of a top-end service is replacing the valve guide seal. When the valve guide seal starts going bad, oil drains down the stem of the valve, and it goes either into the intake or the exhaust, or out the exhaust, and you lose oil slowly and then progressively faster. This one might have been starting to weep because you see how much carbon it's getting on the inside here. That's probably because it's starting to leak. Hello, Trin. Hey, so Trin Rides is in here, so maybe our chat is working. So, Trent, I need the same sort of thing that you did, but I need one for a 5 valve, that 3D print thing, because the other one, yeah, it's working. So I'm very pleased with that. So thanks for thanks for engaging in the chat. Thanks for joining the stream. We appreciate you. Okay. So we're setting things down here. There is a piece like the top of this spring keep that sits at the bottom of here that I'm not removing, okay? It sits down in there, and I'll have to dislodge them, and they're all the same. So I'm gonna wait to remove all of those. But we're just gonna bang this thing out now. But what I am going to do first is I'm going to get these 2 clasps and the spring. I'm going to put these pieces down in my box and put the spring right next to it where it goes. And then over here on our piece of foam, we got 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put this one right here. So from the top down, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and that's where they're going to go. from the top down, right to left. So we got our old valve guide seal that's going over here. So let's go to the next one. Here's the middle one. This is the shorter valve that goes there. I'm just going to set him right there. It might be a her, it might be a they, it might be a them. It might be a Z, a czar, or any of that stuff, but I'm going to call it a him because that's all it really exists, a he or a her in my book. And well, we can get in the weeds on that one. So to update everybody on this one, okay. Wow, the wind is just blasting. So we're waiting on a circlip, excuse me, a snap ring. We're waiting on a snap ring for a couple parts on here, so we're going to proceed on to our top end on the WR450. And what I'm doing is I'm just putting my finger on top of this piece of the valve spring compressor because I have had those little clasps that we were just looking at go into orbit, and we don't want that to happen. So I've got to compress it just a little bit more to get access to it. But that's what we're looking to do tonight. I want to make some good progress on the top end this week and weekend. Okay, come on. All right, so I got both of the clasps here. I'm just going to set them in our bucket. In our bucket. Then we're going to back off the valve spring compressor. And it looks like to me, yeah, I'm going to be able to show you the bottom of this head when we got all the valves extracted. And I'm kind of excited about that. So hang in. I want to describe something to you. This shouldn't take too long. And I don't have any notifications on in the chat, so we're not making a bunch of noise. Set this thing down. Got our valve. Yeah, not terrible. So we got our center one. Put it in its place. Set it back over here. Yeah, I really wish I had one for a 5-valve Yamaha, Trent. Check the chat. Maybe it is working. Let's see. Yeah, last night it was going whack. It was going crazy. What are we doing here? No. Oh. Is it? And it's not working. It's not working on this one, apparently. Okay. I'm fine with that. Well, we tried something different. So I'm going to pull this valve guide seal out. For anybody that might be joining, this is the continued live series that we're doing on the WR450, the 06 model, with the in-frame oil. And we're doing this because the countershaft went bad. The countershaft was allowed, the countershaft sprocket was allowed to get loose. The nut on it was allowed to get loose, and it caused all sorts of problems for the individual. I'm going to remove this one, then I will go back up to my device and I will interact with the chat. So please do stick with us. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing. We try to be educational and fun, but I don't know. We're just trying to help a friend's dad out here on this one. And who rides a WR450, which is pretty cool. I am going to get on this bike at some point and do some wheelies, I think. I hope so. Although we have had to do a little bit more work than what I would have liked to have done, and had corresponding parts to purchase that I would rather him not have to purchase. But you know, when you're in here, you only have one opportunity in which to make a difference. I don't want to come back here to do this. I'm not a mechanic. I'm not a mechanic that's trying to run a shop and get more business by doing all this wacky stuff. I'm just trying to help somebody out. Okay, so we got one more to get out of there. And for the record, I don't think most mechanics do that anyway. And to be frank, to be dewy about it, I think there are some mechanics or wannabe mechanics that try to extract all that they can out of their customers or their clients, however you want to depict them. I'm having a little bit of trouble with this second clasp on here. And that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to help somebody out that wants to get back into riding. They went to release the clutch and they were going nowhere because the countershaft sprocket was just turning. Oh, it's moving. It was turning on the shaft and they were going nowhere. That was too bad. I may have to re-grip this one. Oh, there it came. Did you hear it click? Click. So hello, my friends. I'm glad to be talking to you and sharing this process. I think it's kind of fun doing a little live series. It's kind of fun. Kind of keeps me on my toes. I had kind of a disaster the other night, which I'm sorry for that. But I mean, when you're not trained to do this stuff for a living, and I would not like to do this for a living unless I absolutely had to, because you're given so much pressure to get this stuff done fast. And when you do things fast, what's the saying? Haste makes waste. All right. Yeah. Not a terrible looking valve. I'd run that. So I'm going to get that valve guide seal and we'll check in with the chat. So if you have not and you have something to say, again, be classy, friends. Tell me what you've been doing. Are you working on anything? Did you go out and ride some wheelies today? What did you do? What's happening? Okay. So, sneak peek of the head here. We got 3 valves. Valve seats. I'm looking at them real quick. Yeah, looks pretty good. So why am I doing this? One more time. All right. Living room project. That's right, as usual. Hello, CRF 1000L. Hello. Australia? I'm guessing AUS, AUS. All right, 1000. Who is this again? Have we been talking on my Instagram? Remember to jump into the Instagram. Join me on my Instagram, and let's chat. You know, I'm trying to grow that audience as well. So thank you for joining us. Why are we removing this? Removing all these valves, not only to check on them. All right, come on, you can do it. This is a valve guide seal. When you're doing a top end, you should replace your valve guide seal and inspect your valves and clean out your head and resurface your head. So we don't want oil running down our valve and either into our combustion chamber, which I think this has been doing a little bit of, or we don't want it going on our exhaust pipe. And so again, reminding you, if you are not a subscriber, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give this video a like. I'd really appreciate that. I'm not a real YouTuber. I'm not getting crazy into things, but I'm putting some effort into this. So you're watching it. So why not watch some more? I'd appreciate it. Okay, on to the exhaust. Anybody traveling or doing anything for the Easter weekend? Anybody do any of that? Tomorrow, or for some people it may be in different places. Today is Good Friday. Some folks that's not too big of a deal. I'm not a much of a church going person, but I'm a believer, and I think there's some significance to the timing of this in the Jewish calendar, and there's a lot of people that do a lot of fasting and whatnot in the Lenten season, and if I get into that, I'll probably end up pissing some people off. But there's a lot of, just like around Christmas time, there's a lot of pagan rituals and things like that go into it that have been converted from the time of Constantine, from the Roman Empire, self-proclaimed Holy Roman Empire. Definitely was Roman. But they did the fasting things, no meat on Friday and all that stuff, and which, it is what it is, but I don't believe any of that stuff. And but that's why we're all different, and we have, at least here in the United States, at least we're convinced of the fact that we have freedom of religion. There were times in which we did not have freedom of religion, or some places didn't have freedom of religion, and hence you had no separation between church and state. And that of time of the forming of this country, or even before that, when we had the Pilgrims, which we are all to some extent related, and they are something of an ancestor to them. Many of them died, they suffered, they had good and bad dealings with the Native Americans here, but they made it, and they got to practice their religion separate from that of the state. And for them, it was worth the enduring of a hard voyage to the New World, as it was called. They had to find a way to make a living, to be able to eat, to be able to survive the elements. And there are a lot of different things that happened in those times. But religious freedom is important, and You know, there's people that, contend the fact that they don't believe anything. And that is also a part of religion. I would encourage folks to believe in something, to believe in God. I would. Okay, here we go. But that's another discussion. I could probably piss a good number of people off with it. Okay, so we don't want to see these valves knifed off. We only have so much real estate. This valve is let's see if I can describe it here. It's going like this. This is not me making a dirty motion. It's going against the valve seat over and 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 over again. And as that surface is going progressively towards the cylinder head on the valve seat, it is all the time wearing its contact surface that seals off the engine, allows it to have compression in the combustion chamber. And it is constantly wearing towards the edge of these valves. And it'll eventually knife these things off to the point where one little bit of wear is a little too much, and then it's over. You got to replace your valves before something tragic happens, such as a piece of it coming off and all sorts of stuff happening. So yeah, we talked about some religion and all that stuff. So I apologize for that, and then also don't apologize for it. But Easter is something that I do recognize. I don't really necessarily recognize it as Easter because we're talking about Ishtar and Astarte, the false and pagan mythical religions there, and I don't believe in that stuff. Just like that of Halloween and Day of the Dead, All Saints Day, and all that. It's all pagan goddess and dead worship, and it's disgusting to me. But dressing up as somebody and taking candy, if I don't view that as religious or any connotations there, it's not. So see how many people I pissed off. I don't care if I pissed anybody off. Is my chat still working? Well, hello, Kyle. I hope I caught you in time. I'm removing valves from the cylinder head of the WR450. Thank you for asking. And I'm trying to be the, let's see, one of the guys called me there's someone that I watch on Fox News quite a little bit. He's a contributor. He's a historian. I saw him tonight, as a matter of fact. Apparently he didn't make enough of a difference on me to be able to remember him, but he's a very well-spoken person, and I am not. I am not. Very well-spoken historian and also a Fox News contributor. I enjoy listening to him because every once in a while he ends up with some zingers. Not to the level of say, John Kennedy, Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana. But he's got some zingers too, and I really enjoy it. And if you're a person that aligns with the Democratic Party, that's not a bad thing either. Just don't be a crazy lefty. Because, it's not a left versus right thing. It's not a religious versus non-religious. It's not a Christian versus not a Christian thing. We're Americans, or we're people that we enjoy our freedoms. We enjoy our motorsports, such as this case. We can have things that are able to give us some enjoyment out of this world, this life, this experience. We're able to eat and be filled and be thankful for it. We're able to have a soft place, hopefully, to lay our heads. hopefully not too hot or too cold conditions. And we can share that space with who it is that we choose to. Now, well, we're just not going to get too much into that, but you know, some people that means someone of the same sex. Sometimes that means the same person, same man or woman that they fell in love with in high school or even before then, and they just were sweethearts all of their growing up life, and that's just a beautiful thing. But the people that break way with the traditions of morality or all that, and they just want to be left alone. They're not the people that I cross paths with or I'm upset with. People that go and dye their hair purple or pink or blue or whatever and scream in the street, shrinking along there, going absolute crazy and do those things. They're doing it for the wrong reason. And I hope they find some morality in their life. And realize their mistake that they've made and move on. Or, and if they're with whoever it is that they're with, they can just be with them and be happy, or they deserve the day that they've earned. Let's just put it that way. Okay. So we got one more valve guide seal to remove, and then we're going to show you the head. Sorry for that rant. Was that a rant? I went on a rant just now. So just using this special, these may look like needle nose pliers, but these are actually handcrafted by hand valve guide seal pullers. I'm still here, yeah, man, right on, man. Found you from Link's Garage. Well, thank you, Kyle. I had a really good time meeting him. So here's our cylinder head from the bottom up. We have our 2 exhaust valves and our 3 intakes. Any secrets? Okay. Well, this is a WR450. This is an 06 WR450, which has some things that are very similar to the DRZ because they have in-frame oil. So you have a 24 DRZ. Something, if you're not much of a wrenching person, what you would want to do is look into the free power mod. There's a few different things on. That's a first thing to do. Something that I would also, I think it's Kyle. Kyle, right? Yeah, from Link's Garage. I would say to you, if you're a Facebook person, join the group Corey and Nate's Power Sports Sale, and when you're ready, get a Barker's exhaust, and at the same time do the not the free power, do the JD jet kit and get that carburetor jetted up so you're ready. If you don't want an exhaust, it's still good to get the JD jet kit and do the free power mod on that as well, and do the 3x3 mod on that so that you have the maximum airflow and we're still quiet. You still have an adjustable needle so you get the pickup off the bottom a little better. I would recommend also at some point, this stuff costs money. You have a really new bike, drop some pretty serious coin on it, so I respect that. but think about making it your own. Look at the SoCal Supermoto School, and it's an older video, but they're mandatory DRZ suspension settings. Those are very helpful. I know I'm missing some things. I would recommend, maybe even getting a seat. Seat Concepts makes a seat. It really bothers me. They used to make a seat where you can just get the foam and the cover. I'm squinting because I left my light on here. And or look at Guts Racing. They allow 3 different squishiness or softness of foam. What I run on mine is a Seat Concepts. They're all second-hand ones, but they're tall. I'm just under 6 foot. I'm like 5'11", 5'10". Just depends on how confident I want to feel. We'll just call it 5'10". So, and those are not a problem. I like the grippy component on there. If you're going to Guts Racing, get a tall one and then the softest foam. You can customize your seat cover on that. That's really nice. Consider going to JNS Industries, I think is what it's called, JNS. Yeah, JNS, and get the KTM style headlight. Those are pretty cool. Okay. We're going to take a break on that for right now. We're going to talk about the cylinder head. I've got to remove these dowel pins. All right, we'll get back to that. Okay, we'll get back to it. I've got to remove these studs. And I remember I have a couple of these thread pattern nuts here, because this is too deep of a nut here, and I'm going to do the double nut method and remove these studs from the cylinder head on both sides. And I'm going to extract those, and I'm going to go over to my resurfacing area, and I'm going to use 220 grit, and then I'm going to really do a lot of figure eights in both directions, clockwise starting off, and then counterclockwise, and then I'm going to turn it and do the clockwise and counterclockwise and all that, and then I'm going to go all the way around there, and then I'm going to look at the cylinder head, and what I'm looking to do is get all the indentations from the head gasket out of this. Okay. And I'm also going to, so I'll go through that. Let's see here. And then once I have removed sufficient material to, if there's any imperfections in this cylinder head that's substantial from our warpage, potentially this thing's gotten hot, or gotten hot and cold a lot of times, there's going to be some irregularity in the surface. And with that method, I'll be able to deck it myself, since it's just a single cylinder head, a single cylinder head. I can do that. Once I've removed all enough material that I need to, I will go down to the 400 grit and then a 600 grit and repeat that process until I have this smoothed up. But before I do that, I'm going to go in. I've got some softer materials, and I'm just going to Dremel out, clean out, because there's some carbon and some goop in here. I'm not going to really do a port job on this. This is pretty solid. It's nice looking on the intake side. I'm pleased. And then I'm going to do the decking on it, and then I'll reassemble our valves. I may or may not show you that, but it might be fun. We could do that. Back to the DRZ. Since we're finishing up this chat, I'm going to go ahead and jump over here and see if we have a conversation. Oh, sorry I bumped you guys. Yeah. Another DRZ rider down under. Well, hello. Yeah, I'm glad to have you. CRF Australia down under. Well, tell us, Mr. CRF, what model do you have? What model of DRZ? Can you guys still get the E model? I thought it was cool how they could still get the E model after we could not get them after '07, and their dash was able their dash they had a real dash instead of a regular counter on it. Yeah, you have the E. Haha, see, the SM. Okay. Yeah, we have the E still. Yeah. So tell me 300 or 1000L. 1000? Yeah. Mr. CRF, we'll call you Mr. CRF. Do those E models still are they still equipped with the slant FCR? But yep, that's what we're going to do with this. Since we have the light on, I'm going to show you our cylinder. Set that right there. Mr. CRF. I was just looking at the ring end gap on this when I was doing the initial teardown on this. I appreciate your viewership. See how that's real polished right there on this bottom side here on our cylinder? We have a new cylinder over here. I did the reveal on that yesterday. I'm not sure, the reason we lost some bikes was ABS and it's a mandatory. Yeah, that's, doggone it. The government is doing too much. Well, yo, homie, gee. See how we have these imperfections in here. This is not particularly. Yeah. Let's get a little closer here. See how we still have some cross hatching here, but we don't have it here. And I'm trying to show you. I'm trying so hard. See those vertical marks? That's game over. You can put that back in there, and it ain't your friend. I'm trying to show you. But this is from 2006. Kyle, that's a good question or a statement there, or point that you're making. I don't think any of the DRZs have ABS except for the brand new ones. Very well made point there. So, well, since I already have it out, I'm going to show you. Be careful. And we'll clean up these valves. We'll clean them up. But since I did the reveal last night, and if you're just joining us, thank you for your viewership. I'm not going to get the piston out just yet. And real quick, let's see, we have Kyle and CRF, and I don't know if Trent's still in here or not. A couple little things to why we're doing this project if you haven't joined in. Just checked, the E does come with key in. Yeah. FCR 39SS flat slide. Yeah, and I think it's a slant. Yeah, I'm not sure. Wisconsin. Thank you, Kyle. Appreciate you. Kyle, have we talked on Instagram? Watching from well, hello, homie G. Tell us a little bit about yourself, homie G. So this mangling right here should not be here. This is our countershaft. We've replaced it. On this, we've split the cases and took all the guts of the countershaft off of this, and This is why you don't let your countershaft sprocket nut get loose. On these, they have a splined washer and a splined part of their countershaft sprocket, and you have your nut that goes over the top of it. And you know, you don't just go crazy and fold the washer just once. Well, you can, but you want to make sure and torque these properly. You don't want to over torque them. You don't want to under torque them. And I like to put a little bit of thread lock red on there. Call me crazy, but this is why we're doing this project. So that's bad. We got a freshie in there for him, and we also found. And I'm sorry if this is redundant for you folks. And I'm gonna do it. I'm doing a little quick here, real quick. Wow. This is our new cylinder reveal. And on the WRs, they fixed it in '09 as far as my reading goes. Let's see if it'll show. This is the third wheel on the main shaft. We also removed the third and fifth wheel on the main shaft because I'm going to show you this little naughty. It's coming around. See that chunk missing right here versus how these look, which are still worn. That engages with the fifth wheel. I guess I could show you, but there's a female side of it engages with, and it's sitting there locked in. And at a certain point, it'll just start slipping in and out, and then it'll chew all the rest of these out, and you have nothing. You have nothing at all. And so we replaced that part. It was updated in 2009. And so we're splitting the cases. We replaced all of the bearings in the cases. We've replaced all the seals. But we managed to catch that before it was too late. And now, ooh, baby, look at that cylinder surface. All uniform, not polished. This cross hatching on here is important to have, and a lot of people hone that in. A lot of people hone that into their... Well, we've done every day this week because we're trying to make progress on this, on how often I stream. If it's something that you request, we can do it a little bit more. I just find it interesting. I'm enjoying it. But please do turn your notifications on for when I go live. Sometimes I do it on Instagram as well, so just follow me, Dewey's_garage. I appreciate that. So thanks for your question, Kyle. So still waiting to hear from our friend Homie G. Hope you're still there, Homie G. But this is pretty cool right here. So the function of this cross hatching, if you don't understand that, is to hold the oil in place when the piston is going up and down with its rings sliding into that surface, and you have that container. It's a reservoir along that cylinder wall that also allows you to make sure that it's a sealed surface, but you're also lubricating at the same time. When it's polished, like certain portions of that other cylinder were, you end up with oil not staying put, and you end up with more wear. So it's just a cascading effect, and it just happens. We went with the Cylinder Works cylinder and piston kit, top end kit on this. And that is a family that I trust quite a little bit. It's a part of the All Balls Racing Network. So brands like Vertex, brands like Hot Rods and Hot Cams, Pivot Works. I think Pivot Works is involved with that. Vertex and All Balls, the bearings. We have I have those components in my DRZs. Let's talk about this. And I like riding my DRZs on this channel. I recently did, our friend, I think it was Kyle, was telling us that he'd found me from Link's Garage. We did some collaborations. We had the knockoff FCR carb on his, and he had limited success with that, and he liked it and disliked it in other ways, and that's fine. And obviously, we talked about you can see the whole build series on the engine that I did for him, and so we're good friends, and I got to go over there and help him install it and meet his family. Just wonderful people. And he fed me profusely, like it was his job. These good people. So I look forward to hearing what he has to say about his engine. He had his first, pardon me, ride video a while back. I'm going to go ahead. What I'm going to do is something that I haven't done on my live here. Yeah, he's a champ. Okay, wait a second here. Okay, homie G, I'm here getting ready to go bowling. Thought I'd been dormant a while. Make a car show and a car cruising videos. Also a bunch of motorcycles. Yeah, and there's a great population there. I just wish they didn't give people such a hard time about their modified exhaust and all that stuff. Wade. Oh, Wade McGroovy. All right, hold on, guys. For my privacy, I'm going to walk over to my garage. I'm going to do a little garage tour real quick since we're basically done. Okay, so I'm just doing some. Just bear with me, hang with me. We're done working on stuff for tonight. We've been live for an hour. Those of you that are in the chat or in the viewing here, okay. So go easy on me. Go easy on me. So what I want to show you is something that you might have seen from Link's garage video. This is the Yamavarna. And this is a Banshee engine that is in a Husqvarna TE 250, a 2012 model. It needs a little bit of work. Yeah, this is crazy. Yeah, and so I'm going to do some work on this. Scott didn't show you this, but he had put the stock carburetors back on here, trying to make a move, but he did not jet it, as far as I understand, for these pod filters or the pipes. So he ended up with some hesitation. We've got a little bit of leakage out of the engine, and so it makes me a little bit concerned, thinking that we may have some case seals, some seals on these. So I plan on building this anyway into a project 4 mil. So a 4 mil stroke and a 4 mil bore on this, and the goal is going to be somewhere in the 80 to 90 horsepower range. And so it's going to be just absolutely stupid. But what I'm hoping to do is to get this relatively jetted right and get this awful goddamn 180 tire off of this 4.25 inch wheel, because the DRZ has a 4.25 inch wheel, and a 140/70 or a 150/60 is ideal for that. And you can see how the contour of this is just wacky. But my problem is right now is that I have this WR450 that I'm trying to get done, and then I get to move on to this XR650L, which, well, I might as well show you. We were thinking it was going to be a simple deal, and then I saw this. I thought I was just going to do a top end on it and life would be good. But that is all supposed to be piston skirt, like that. So that metal went somewhere, and it went down in the cases. And I was like, okay, well, we'll just go ahead and split the cases. We'll take the engine out and we'll split the cases. Fuck. We ended up with this flywheel issue. And This is one of the pullers I went through, and you can see the rolling on, it didn't really damage this too badly, but it did stripped. It stripped the threads on this. Then I went and I broke two or three. It was three jaw pullers on it, and I almost threw the towel in on it. And I don't like doing that. I thought about it, I contemplated it, and I said, no, I'm not going to do that. Thank you for liking the video, by the way. Make sure and like the video if you get a chance to, and subscribe and hit the bell notification. And so I thought, went to work with the Dremel. Burnt this one up, went to Harbor Freight and got another one, and a countless number of cut-off wheels, and I cut that son of a bitch off of there. That does mean that I made some contact on the other side of the engine with the crankshaft, and so we're replacing the crankshaft too. So I've got to move to this and get this thing back, apart and back together, or if I discover a lot of carnage in here, then we'll throw in the towel on it. There's some chunky happening right here, which I'm a little bit concerned about, but we'll look at that when it comes time. You may not like politics, but that's where my politics are. I'm not forcing them on you. Check out my lights, by the way. Ooh, these are upgrades. Sorry about the streaks. And so this is my E model DRZ. It's also a stroker big bore. Kickstart. I rode it today, as a matter of fact. And let's see. We got the Barker's full exhaust on it. And I like the downturn tip on it. We do have the spark arrestor / quiet core in there. I really like that brand. And on the DRZ, again, I'm a little cluttered in here. A lot of people, kitty litter, that header, some of them, they droop down and they approach the front wheel over here, or the front tire. So if you do like a SM to S conversion and you have a header that droops way out here, you'll end up with some contact, like the newer Yoshis do that. With Parkers, this is an E model, it's the same. And to make a comparison, here is a power bomb on my 16 header here. It tucks close to the frame, so I don't have any problem when it comes to the 21-inch which I do put on here occasionally. And then, so I have that, which is kind of nice. I rode this to the gym and back today. And this one's kind of got a different one. This is my first DRZ. The Two Brothers exhaust is only made for the slip-on. Okay, it's only made for the slip-on to the stock header. Well, I used an exhaust pipe expander, and I made it fit the best as I could. Made it fit the power bomb. So we're running that. So I'm wanting to work with Barker's since I have one on my E model. And then here's my S model. Don't beat me up on this. I still have, this was one I call the farmer's bike. Okay. And look at there. Oh, we've got a downturn Barker's on there. So I want to be 3 of 3 Barker's. This is a stroker big bore. This is a stroker big bore, and that's a stroker big bore. But the thing about the E model, it's got a wide ratio gear set in there that I put in there, just like for Link's Garage. In addition to that, it has, let me see, with the rim lock wheels on it, I have a 13 tooth in the front and a 50 rear on this. That bike, I've reached 85 mile an hour by GPS with the wide ratio gear set at 13 and 50. This is an S model. I have the KKE wheels on it. Sorry, they're dirty. But this has got a cushion drive on it, which I think is rather interesting. We just recently lubed it. So this is where our cushion drive is. I bought this pair of wheels for just over $500, which I thought was pretty cool. I'd try them out. And so I'm going to be putting new rubber on the S wheels. This is going to be kind of my adventure type setup. I've got some soft bags, and I've got a Clark 3.9 gallon tank. What is cushion drive? That's a good question. So like on a sport bike, if you take that wheel off of there, there's cushions in there. And there's your sprocket piece comes out. Okay, I can show you that here in a minute. And most of these wheels, like on the, let's just look at the regular DRZ SM here. It's just a direct. Oh man, my wheel's so dirty. It's just bolted directly to the hub. And what that is good for is you get all the power right to the wheel. Okay. The bad news about that is when you're going, say, in fifth gear, like our friends WR450 in there, you get all that. You're in fifth gear and you got nothing cushioning the blow of the constant pressure on it. When you have a cushion drive, we have a male part going into a second part of that hub that is metal, and it's cushioned by rubber on each side. All right. And we got the Grom. I'm going to show you that here in a minute. Here, just so bear with me. I'll show you an example of a cushion drive. All right, yeah, I do have some spring cleaning going on here. I've got a 320 rotor on this front. Chain slap, no, it's vibrations in your drivetrain, and it absorbs the vibrations, just like if you have rubber grommets or something in your handlebars. It's supposed to be something of a reduction of that wave pattern of that hardness. So anyway, it's a pain in the ass to deal with, but alas. And then here's the if you look back a couple years ago on Jixer Bra on his channel, I put him on this bike with Jake the Garden Snake at the go-kart track, and he had a good time. And on his channel, it's just labeled as CRF, YZ250. I'll blame that on. So you look back at YZ250 in like September of 2023, I think is when it was. Yeah, 2023. He was on this bike, and towards the end of the video, him and I were wheeling side by side, and I was riding this bike. And Bra was so kind to leave his signature on it. I said, just don't scrape it hard. And he just barely touched it, and so that was nice. So got that fatty. I need to clean it up a little bit. Look at that. Yeah. All right. So Kyle. All right, we're gonna go inside. So again, for my privacy, I'm gonna cover this. So just stick with me. Oh, but real quick first. Oh, sorry. I'm going to do some tire changing. I got my friend Derek. This is his wheel. We're going to take his winter wheel or winter tire off of there and go back to the Dunlops. I saw a WR Supermoto when I was out riding today. Rare to see any Supermotos down here. Well, I mean, I think you ought to make friends, in my opinion. Okay. I'm going to show you your cushion drive. All right. Okay. Be kind to me now. Be nice. Be nice. All right. So this is a spare wheel. This because I have yellow ones on my GSXR 1000. Okay. On my GSXR 1000 that I ride at the track. Well, I think they mainly just keep them big wheel down there, Kyle. I think it's what they do. But this is our cushion drive here. So our sprocket set bolts to the cushion drive section, or the hard side of it, and we'll just call them thumbs, or it's male portions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this case, lock into this position, and it transfers the power from the chain and sprocket to the wheel. And so that's one of the things that's interesting about those. And of course, we have these big, higher power. Yeah, I mean, you might see them a little bit more in more populous areas and whatnot. But anyway, this is my spare wheel, and I wanted to show you the cushion drive. And again, your sprocket, I just take that portion of it out when I do a quick wheel change, and I just put that portion on my other one, and that is engaged right now on the yellow wheel of my. Does that make sense? Clear as mud? Okay. We'll do one more section and then we'll call this good. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. This is a privilege that, where I can share some things with some people. I'm going to go to my tire room. Going to my tire room. Okay. So these are my tires that are going to go on the S model wheels. These right here. And here's the wheels and tires that were on my SM previously. I like to have one that has some knobs in the winter because we get some snow and this and that, and there's always some residue, like some sand. Well, of course, we try to have a ripper summer. Yeah, and let's see here. And then I have some of my spare tires that I keep here. Just some here. But that's about it. These are those set that I sometimes put on the SM. See, it's got the big SM rotor on it. It's a 310. But I don't do that very often. Let me see here. We're going to flip the camera around. All right, folks. I really want to thank you for joining me this evening. It's actually getting into night. And remember, you can come back and comment on my videos, watch my videos if you want to. We're trying to get better at them. We're trying to get some better edits and just overall camera function. Man, my hair is helmet hair. Sorry about that. But we're doing really good with it. We're wanting to share as much of it as possible. And that's kind of what this is all about. Oops, sorry about the light. But I want to say thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Well, I really do appreciate it. Have a good night or good day. Good day. And enjoy your aluminum. All right. Bye-bye now.